You are doing the opposite of all the hand signals you told me before. That's the problem.
Welcome to Experience Points, presented by our friends at Avtex, who transform customer experience through CX design and orchestration. On Experience Points, contestants earn points by answering customer experience questions and share their insight on how to make your interactions remarkable. Those points turn into dollars for the charity of their choosing. I'm Dan Gingiss.
And I'm Joey Coleman. And we'd love to introduce you to today's contestant, Rohit Bhargava. Rohit is an innovation and marketing expert. He's the Wall Street Journal best-selling author of 6 business books. Most recently, Non-Obvious Megatrends, How to See What Others Miss and Predict the Future. And he was a marketing strategist for 15 years for Ogilvy and Leo Burnett. Rohit, welcome to Experience Points.
Thank you, and I see you used the Post-it note picture, so thank you for that.
I'm a little disappointed, however, that you didn't wear that outfit for this show, but maybe next time.
It's at the dry cleaners.
Fair enough. All right, so Rohit, you're going to be playing for a special charity today. Can you tell us which charity you've chosen and why did you decide to play for them?
Yes, my charity is a website called Donors Choose, and it's basically a platform where teachers can put in projects that they need help funding, and we can fund those projects so the teachers can help their students to learn. And I chose it for 2 reasons. One is because I married a teacher, and the second is because we really need to support teachers. Like, teachers are underfunded and underpaid and overworked, and I think we need to appreciate them more. So.
Amen to that. I definitely agree. That sounds like an awesome organization. So now that we know who you're going to be playing for, I want to introduce you to the first game, which is called Fake or Fact.
In Fake or Fact, examine 3 similar experiences. Some are real, some are not. Your task is to determine the fake from the fact. Each experience correctly detected is worth 100 points. 3 correct answers will earn you 200 bonus points for a possible score of 500 points.
Are you ready to get started?
I am ready to get started.
Fantastic. Well, given your extensive experience with Ogilvy and Leo Burnett, we decided to talk about advertising with you. Now, what we're going to show you are 3 potential print advertisements to see what you think. So the first one is from Orion Telescopes, and it shows a picture of the moon in one little circle, and then it's at 200x, and then it zooms into a picture of the American flag at 400x, and then it zooms into a picture of the fine detail on the flag where it says Made in China at 800x. So an print ad from Orion Telescopes. The second ad is from FedEx. It shows a FedEx truck that appears to be ahead of another truck with, let's just say, yellow and red branding, a FedEx competitor. You can't see their logo, but what it actually is they put a truck wrap on the FedEx truck so that you can see that FedEx is delivering ahead of the competition. The last print ad is from Weight Watchers, and it shows 2 doors. The door on the left, an extra wide door that says entrance. The door on the right, a particularly skinny door that says exit with the sign Weight Watchers in between the doors. Now, those are the 3 potential print advertisements. Now it's time for you to decide which ones are fake or fact. So let's go to the Orion Telescope ad that kind of shows 3 different views of the moon, one at 200x magnification, one at 400, and one at 800, where we zoom in and we see the moon, and then we see the American flag, and then we see the fine print on the American flag. Rohit, do you think this print ad is fake or fact, and why do you think that?
I am going to go with fake on this one because I don't know what the reason why they would promote the fact that the flag would be from China would be. It doesn't make sense as a strategy. So I'm going to go with fake on this one.
Gotcha. Rohit, solid strategy, but alas, this was actually a true print ad that Orion ran. Who knows why they missed on the strategy? So yeah, I think what we see in your answer is the difference between something that is creative and clever versus something that fits into a bigger brand strategy. So alas, that one was indeed fact. Let's go to the FedEx ad. That shows the FedEx truck ahead of their competitor. It's basically a truck wrap showing the truck on the back of the FedEx truck. What do you think on this one, Rohit? Fake or fact?
I think this one could be fact because I think that there was another campaign where someone else attacked FedEx in a similar way, where they had like a super cooled box that then kind of showed up with the wrapping of the competitor when it got to regular room temperature. So this might be like a get back type of strategy. So I think this one could be real.
Gotcha. It definitely could be real. But alas, Rohit, this one's fake. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. This one was actually put together. Yeah. This is a really creative ad. It's a great idea put together by two ad students at the Miami Ad School in Hamburg, Germany. Who knew that the Miami Ad School had a location in Hamburg? But yeah, regrettably, this is a fake one, although I agree with you, absolutely brilliant, and it would be a great get back ad. Let's go for our last one, the Weight Watchers ad, with the large door on the left side that says entrance and a much thinner door on the right side that says exit. Rohit, what are you thinking? Fake or fact?
I am going to say this one's fake, and if I am wrong, I'm totally changing careers right now. That's it. I've decided right now. This is it. This is the moment in time. I'm basing my entire career path from this point forward on whether this is fake or fact.
And just to make sure I completely understand, Rohit, you're saying your final answer is fake, or you're saying your final answer is fact?
Yes.
I love it. I love it. What are you feeling, brother? What are you feeling? Fake or fact?
This one is fake. I say fake.
You think this one is fake?
Final answer.
Okay, final answer. This one is fake. Rohit, my friend, you are better at actually designing ads than determining whether they are fake or fact. I am so sorry. That is actually a true ad, a fact ad from Weight Watchers.
You are doing the opposite of all the hand signals you told me before. That's the problem. See, I'm following the, this, and then you forgot the signals is what happened. That's what happened. I was going to say exactly the opposite for every one of these until you gave me the signal, and then I changed it at the last minute. So basically, this is on you.
I love it. I love it. Well, I will accept responsibility for knowing that I was up against you and trying to find really difficult ones to come up with. I think there's an interesting story that we can pull out of here, though, and that's the reality of advertising today. We live in a world where when you see an ad or when you see something on the internet, you have no idea whether it's real or not, especially because so many things get kicked around in memes. Could you speak, Rohit, a little bit to the challenge that brands are facing right now about potentially losing control of their brand when other people are doing things that make it seem like they're doing it as the brand?
Yeah, it happens. It happens all the time. I mean, you showed a great example of, something that could have been an ad from a couple of designers at an advertising school. And to me, that is really the point, that it's so easy to create these things now when we're not the brand, that you see all these messages out there, and a lot of times people get confused. They're like, does that come from the brand? Does it not come from the brand? We've got Twitter accounts that are like the real whatever, right? And is that actually the real whatever, or is that the fake whatever? And so we are lost. We don't know exactly what to do and what to say. And I think a lot of brands, the big struggle is not how you control it, but do you even shut it down, or do you just roll with it and say, look, this was clever, but we didn't do it, right? In the case of that FedEx ad, it's clever, but we didn't do it, but it doesn't hurt us. So do we want to send the lawyers in, or do we just want to be people are going to be creative and have fun? It's a hard attitude to have as a big company, because they don't tend to think that way.
Well, I think also there's this issue. You said the word clever, and I do think that cleverness is something that sells today. People are looking to be entertained or to at least get a smile out of some marketing or advertising. And all three of these examples, to their credit, were clever and therefore I think memorable. I spent some time working for McDonald's, and we had a very similar situation where people were creating stuff all the time and putting stuff out there. They were even inventing sandwiches that didn't exist. And so it's very interesting to deal with that. But I think some of it comes down to, and Rohit, maybe you can talk about this because you've worked with so many brands, is that some brands are just more willing to, not hang on to the rope just as tightly and allow others to co-create with them, and B, they're just more willing to be clever versus some companies that have sort of had a reputation for being really straight and narrow.
So many times it comes down to the person who's in charge of it and what their motivation is. And I think that what you'll see, I could say, yeah, some brands have a personality or more of a personality and some don't, but a lot of times it's like, has a CMO just started? Is the CMO in a bad relationship with the chief executive officer? Do they need to shut this stuff down because the CEO's overreacting? So much of it is the internal politics that happens behind the scenes that it would be nice if they just look, our philosophy is we want people to talk about the brand, and that's great, and that's what it is. But rarely does it work out that way. Usually it's the dynamic between this person and that person. Somebody feels like they got in trouble. They're worried about the potential for risk or getting it to look negatively on them. And so that's what controls it. So it's all this internal stuff. That's kind of the reality, at least what I've seen, of how the reactions go and whether they embrace this sort of stuff or they don't.
I think that's so true, Rohit. There's definitely a big piece of this that has to do with the players and kind of what's going on behind the scenes dynamically within the organization, as opposed to what is the messaging to the prospects or the customers. I'd love to shift our conversation briefly to talk a little bit about how brands can be authentic in their messaging and how they can get creative displays, if you will, or their features or benefits in an ad. But then how do they continue that throughout their interactions with a customer? I think, one of the big critiques in the world of customer experience is what you're sold isn't what you get as the experience. You're kind of presented one image of what life will look like with a product, but the reality is very different. The Orion telescope ad, what I thought was interesting about that is it's really in a creative way highlighting the features and the benefits of the telescope, that you can zoom in and have multiple levels of magnification. But of course, then when you get the telescope, it's got to match that experience. And I think it would be safe to say that no telescope sold to the average consumer in this country or anywhere in the world is going to be able to see the flag on the moon, right? And so how do we balance being creative versus being authentic?
I think one of the things that's changed about marketing and advertising in the last few years is its role in the customer experience. And my belief as a 20-year marketer as well is that marketing's job right now is essentially to promise the experience that ultimately the rest of the company has to deliver on. And so if those things don't match up, you do create immediate disappointment. Another great example from McDonald's, they used to hire a food artist, which I didn't even know that existed, to literally apply the sesame seeds on top of the bun for the Big Mac in the commercial so it looked perfect. But then everybody knows when you get a Big Mac in the restaurant, it doesn't look anything like that. And so what that invites in today's world is lots of pictures that people send in of, here's what my Big Mac looked like, and it wasn't pretty. And so I think that marketing has to adapt to this new role of what we promise. We have to make sure that what we promise we can deliver on, or our company can deliver on. Otherwise, you do cross that line that Joey was talking about of being too creative and clever without being authentic or realistic.
Well, okay, Dan, in some ways I hate to do it, but I think we need to recap how Rohit did playing Fake or Fact.
Well, in this game, correct answers are worth 100 points, and sadly, Rohit didn't answer any of the questions correctly. However, his analysis was fantastic, And that, combined with the fact that our friends at Avtex are all about using strategy and analysis to create remarkable experiences, we've decided to award 100 points to Rohit for his insightful strategic thinking. These points convert into dollars, which means Rohit earned a $100 donation to Donors Choose. Congratulations, sir.
Well, that concludes this episode of Experience Points. We're going to be back for more with Rohit and our other celebrity guests. You can see that at experiencepointsgame.com. That's experiencepointsgame.com. For more examples of remarkable experiences, we'll see you back at Experience Points, presented by Avtex.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I know that they were talking about, kind of marketing's role in this. I read a stat not too long ago that talked about in 2021, so the year coming up, that I hope isn't as much of a dumpster fire that 2020 has been. But anyway, that's another subject. But what they were estimating is that marketing will spend more on CX than they actually will do on ad placements in media. And so the shift in the involvement, I think, is interesting from marketing, which has traditionally been about, image awareness, brand structure, brand personality, some of those things. That is now leaking into, and it should, leaking into the CX space, so that there's a continuity of experience from the time that I am aware of your brand to the time that I'm interacting with your brand as well.